Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast, powered by GamblersWorld.net, where you find me and Chipper. Doug is over at Docs, but there's 10 of us, 11 of us, actually. GamblersWorld.net, where you could find all of our premium selections. We're going to give you 3 MLB ones today on the freebies. A 5-3 run on the video. We were 2-1 on Monday. 5-3 overall, 2-1 day yesterday with the guys. So the free picks have been cashing. But again, you want the premium stuff, you know where to find it. GamblersWorld.net, where all of our 3 730-day packages guaranteed, or else we'll give you a credit back until we get you in the plus side, which honestly won't take you that long. Granted, it's only baseball, but hello, I wrote it down, I think 56 days away from college football, I believe. Does that sound about right to anybody? 58 days.
About right, yeah.
It's 58 days as of today. So I had to write down my other pad because that's how I roll. But wow, here we go. 58 days college football, but we got Major League Baseball going here. I'm joined by Doug Upstone from Doc Sports, Chip Chirimbes right here at the Gamblers World page. And again, before we get over to Doug to start things off here, please take a second, hit the like button. That costs you, it's absolutely free, like buttons. Like buttons, notification bell, subscribe to the channel. 13,500. I want 15 by the end of the year. I think we could do it. Not 15 people, 15,000 total. All right? So try to get that done. Let's go. All right, Doug. How you been, my friend? It's been 2 days, and I've been patiently waiting for you to come back to me.
I'm sure you have, with bated breath at the same time.
Because we were talking Buc-ee's off air, so I don't know if the...
Yes, that'll put a smile on your face at least, so we know that was good. Things continue to do well. 38-26 in Major League Baseball run. Was it 64 picks, just over 59%. So continue to cash baseball tickets. Props have had a little bit of a tough time recently, so I fully admit it. Okay, things just haven't gone my way, but those things will happen, and sometimes you just run into things with bad luck. In fact, they had yesterday, as a matter of fact, they struck out had the rarity. The pitcher struck out the batter. The batter wanted the umpire to challenge it. They looked down to the third baseline. The guy said, "Nope, didn't swing." Next pitch, he grounds out. Okay, so that happens. Okay, we all been there. We have some stuff that are unfortunate, but we're good to go. Hey, and got a lot of stuff going on today. As a matter of fact, got a 97% system going in Major League Baseball tonight, and then also tonight. Now I know you're not as big a fan as Ross was, Sean, of Canadian Football League, and I say that in jest, of course. But I got a situational play tonight that is 100% ready to go in Canadian Football League. So check that out at the Doug Upstone page at Doc Sports.
There is only one CFL game tonight on Thursday the 27th, and it's a night game. Edmonton and BC.
Yes.
What is that, British Columbia?
That is correct. Rivals, big rivals. So
whatever. It's CFL. I'm not. All I know is I'm looking at a CFL. I'm looking at a CFL box score, and there's 4 points up on the board.
Yes, on occasion. Yes. So no, it happens, but the scoring's way up this year. And by the way, one other quick note: the 9 of the 12 games that have been played have been decided in the last 3 minutes. So if you think you got it covered, or you're behind thus far, you've had a great chance to to get something going. Anyway, enough about that. Go ahead.
Speaking of things I have utterly no interest in, I'll ask you this, and we'll move on to Chip. The NBA draft, 2-night affair. What the heck is that nonsense?
It's all about just trying to get some eyeballs. Well, I mean, the NBA is, everybody was trashing the NBA before, saying nobody watches it, blah 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 blah. Then they just signed their new TV contract, which is, what was it, like a 40% increase over the last one or whatever it was. Yeah. So, so somebody's watching it. So don't kid yourself on that one.
Is it like the NFL? They just want to do extra days for extra money on the channels?
That's all it is. Yeah.
I've said before, I used to love the Saturday NFL. I would go I'd bike up to the corner store. I'd get like 2 turkey and cheese sandwiches on Portuguese rolls, tomato and mayo. Come on back with the National or some kind of sporting news magazine or a little pad and watch the draft from like 12 all day long on Saturday, that first round. It was great. I loved it. Now it's 5 days long. It's ridiculous.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree.
Chipper, how you been, fella?
Yeah. Well, other than that one defeat I had yesterday, it's been rolling along pretty nice, to tell you the truth. 24-10 the last 17 days in Major League Baseball. So looking forward to a big day again today. And today is June 27th. And, in 1939, on this date, the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Boston Bees went 23 innings and played to a 2-2 tie. Just thought I'd let you know the longest tie in baseball.
Were you in attendance?
As a matter of fact, it was 1939. I was still in the womb at that time, but you're close. You're not far off.
Listen, I got to bust out some age jokes here every once in a while. Although for the youngest guy, I had the least amount of hair. So I don't know if that's it's the weirdest thing. Anyway, let's stick with you, Chip, because we got Yankees and the Jays going at it. And yesterday I gave you the Yanks and the Mets. So I figured keep you in the same ballpark. Me, I would just come in and bash the Yankees because that's what I've been doing because they've been miserable. 3 straight losses, 6-7, 8-10, 9-12, not playing well. They are a 130 fave here, total of 8.5 versus Barrios. So Toronto's a plus 120. And that's a team I think should just be raising a white flag and sell off. I think they could, between Barrios and Gausman and Bassett, I think you get a nice haul back on pitchers. If they decide to trade Vladdy or whatever, I think you're in last place. You're not going. This experiment is over. I mean, we're in what, year 3 plus it is 4 years of this kind of group of core players with Vladdy and Bichette and Varsho's lesser and Springer, but it's the same kind of guys. You're not going anywhere. I say trade away, but that's another show I'll do of trade deadline baseball. But what do you got here, Chip? Where are you leaning?
Well, we're not in the same ballpark. We have the same team with the Yankees. This time they're in Toronto instead of New York. And, I hate coming back with the same team that I got beat with the day before. It's sort of like a golden rule you try not to violate. The Yankees have hit their little slump right now, and I'm listening to New York satellite radio, and they think the world is over for this team. Their pitching for the last week and a half hasn't been all that great, and Soto is they're starting to realize he's got some liabilities out in the outfield, and the main consistent they have has been, of course, Aaron Judge, and but the Yankees have been exploited, but I think they still have enough firepower. Carlos Rondon had won 7 straight starts. I don't mean 7 straight decisions. He won 7 straight starts. And then he's been totally racked up the last 2 times out. He's given up in 8 innings, 18 hits, 13 runs. So his performance is coming back to the pack where we thought it was going to be earlier in the year. Jose Barrios for Toronto is their ace, and he's 6-6. And, against the Yankees, he hasn't fared well. He's 3-7. His ERA is over 5 against them. I think this game should go over the total. I mean, Rondon, I don't have much confidence in him. And the Yankees still do have a pretty potent offense. And the Judge has been very consistent after hitting 192 on May 1st. Yeah. So I'm going to play this game over the total. It opened at 8. There was a little move on them, which I think is the sharper money. So I'm going to play the Yankees and the Blue Jays to go over the total, but I agree with you. I think this Blue Jay project is a waste. Every year I keep hearing about what's going to happen with this team, how they're going to contend, and they're never there. They're never there. So they've had their time in the sun before, but not today.
192, he's over 300, around 300.
Yeah.
What a crazy 2-month run for him. Good for him. Doug, anything?
Yeah, right with Chip on this one. Rondon 7.47 ERA in his last 3 starts, and Barrios 6.48 ERA. The Blue Jays bullpen is 20. I think they're 20. Yeah, they're 25th in run prevention. The Yankees are 10th. Okay, however, that's sliding downward because in their last 7 games, bullpen is 5.52 ERA. Blue Jays, they're 11-2 over when they're playing a team that outscores the opponent by 1 or more runs on the season since last season. So, yeah, I'm with over on 8.5 myself with Chip.
Yeah, well, like Chip said about Rodon, most pitchers, you're going to have a couple starts and I don't say regress, but you're going to no one's having – if it's a rarity, somebody has a historic great season – I get it. The over. I see it because Barrios against the Yanks, not good numbers. Rodon banged around his last 2 starts. Okay, official play. Chip Chirimbes over New York Yankees, Blue Jays 8.5. I wrote it down. You should too. Moving on to game 2 tonight, Cleveland and Kansas City. The Royals here, what I mean, 8-10 start here. You got Waka versus Lively. They started out. They were really good to start. I mean, I'm excited. I still think they cash a over win ticket for us here, but a 3-11 slump. They were bad on the road. They come home, score 5 runs, lose a game 2-1 here. They had been hitting a lot better at home. Now you're facing Cleveland, who's looking like it's Albert Bell, Kenny Lofton, and Baerga coming at you with Charles Nagy leading the show here. They found some offense. The pitching's pretty good, although here's a team. Would they love to have a Gaspin or Brios coming in and take over some of their back end pitchers? But Cleveland, small fave, 110, 115, 8.5 here. What do you got for us on this one, Doug?
Well, we're talking about a team with the best record in the American League.
Quietly, too. Quietly.
Yeah, very quietly, because it's not a big media market here, and it's legit. I mean, they just took 2 out of 3 against Baltimore. Here's the thing: number 3 in runs scored, number 3 in runs allowed. Okay, so I don't know what else you need to know about them. Ben Lively going tonight, 3-3, 3.03 ERA. His stuff it's not overwhelming, but he stuffs the strike zone. Okay, he just throws strikes on a consistent basis. He's not a deep starter. He'll give you 5 good innings though, almost every time. Sometimes goes a little farther into the 6th. As you mentioned, Kansas City's been struggling. They salvaged their series against Miami. I mean, and just barely. They scored 5 runs in the 8th inning yesterday to win 5-1. They're still 27-15 at home. So you'd like to say this is a big series for them, but when you're 12 games back, I don't know how big a series that really is, Yeah. But before yesterday, Kansas City has scored 11 runs in their previous 7 contests. And even if you consider yesterday, they were shut out the first 7 innings. So it's not like they're trending in the right direction here.
Nope.
Michael Waka, 4-6, 4.07 ERA. At this point of his career, he is a 5th starter at best. 2.76 ERA in his last 3. However, mixed in there was a trip to the IL. He's been good though against the Guardians. I think he's given up 1 run in 2 starts. That was both for last year, and I think it was like over 12 innings in this one. Total in this one is 8.5. The 2 starters are a combined 14-8 under. Royals are on a run of 5-0 under and 7-0-1 under. Plus, they are 10-2 under after batting 225 or less in their last 5 games. Cleveland, 10-2 under in road games versus a starting pitcher who gives up 5.5 or less hits a start this season. I think you figured out where I'm going. I'm going under the 8.5 with Cleveland and Kansas City.
Yeah, I was pretty much guessing that's where you're going to go with this one with those numbers. And also, let me just say, we're talking about the pitching staff here. As good as they are, we said what they were 10th, right? 10th in runs scored, 10th in runs allowed. Third. I'm sorry. The Yankees were sliding down to 10th.
Yes.
Logan Allen, 5.72 ERA. Carrasco, 5.27 ERA. And McKenzie had a 4.66. So they have 3 guys with ERA, 2 at 5 or more, and they're still that good.
Yeah.
And it's not like I get the ERAs can be skewed. The guy gets shelled in a bad outing. That's why we look at I like the whips, batting average against. The ERA says run score. Like that is specific to giving up a bunch of runs. So, I mean, yet they are still that good, which is amazing. So, they'll probably they can't get worse, not much worse. They can only get better. Cleveland out of nowhere, out of left field this season to come in with some offense.
And they're hitting. I mean, that's the big.
Go ahead, Chip. I'm sorry. Usually I go in last, but I had to come in with those stats, those ERAs for those 2 guys.
Yeah, well, both of these teams have overachieved for the season, I believe, particularly the Indians. I don't think anyone anticipated they'd have this kind of a lead. And Kansas City is a bit of a surprise. I mean, this Witt Jr. is one of the more exciting players in baseball. He can steal bases. He's hitting for average. And when he puts on a little weight and matures a little bit, he's going to be hitting for power as well. 2 anomalies about this game, Doug. I know you're doing it in Waka. This is his 6th different team in 6 years. He has pitched well against Cleveland, and Ben Lively, who's never had a winning record, 7-4 right now. This is his 4th different team in the last 4 years, and he's been in up and down for 6 different years. Cleveland is playing so well, but this this little slump that Kansas City is in right now sort of coincides with the Yankees at the same time. But I like Kansas City at home. I think you mentioned their home record, how good it is, and uh, I'll take Kansas City here. I believe. What is the number on it anyway? Do you guys have
basically a pick 'em type game here with the
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
so you might be able to get a
one.
105. Shop around.
Right.
You know how the lines are now. You could find plus 102s. I'm seeing a 104, a 105, a 107, a minus 101. So,
It's really not going to hurt you. I'll stay with the Royals here.
27 to 15, clearly better hitting numbers at home. And as you mentioned, Witt Jr. is good. I like this team. I took an over win ticket because I liked Witt. Sal Perez is a veteran kind of guy with power. Pasquantano, Vinny P over there, first baseman's got some pop. MJ Melendez, a young guy. So they have some young guys. And in the pitching, listen, I'm a Brady Singer guy. I like Cole Ragans. Lugo, I was expecting Lugo to be how good he's been, but yeah, I mean, I like this Kansas City team. I do. But it's just tough to you like the under, I'm with you on the 8.5. I want to do run line here with Cleveland, plus 145. I want to go greedy run line.
Okay.
You know what? It's just to bet on a team that's not hitting. It's like the Yankees. Like, hey, lay 130 again. How are you going on a team that's slumping? Kansas City's slumping right now. I don't want to. I'd rather look for a better payday. Like, all right, if I loses, it's even. Because if they lose tonight, the game is a pickup, right? It's 110. It's a coin flip. So if it's a coin flip, I'd rather go for a big payday. I don't know. That's just my thinking on that game. But officially, I think we could all agree on the under here. That 8.5 is a good play. So Doug officially in on the under 8.5. Look at that. MLB season package is up $4.99. July, August, September, 3 full months of baseball left, plus all your playoff action included, folks. And again, I'm guessing you jump on a package like that. Probably not guaranteed. I don't know if they'll probably edit that out, but most season packages are not guaranteed. Only on 7 30-day packages like those. So just so you know, don't think, that doesn't work that way in those season packages. All right, my game today, Texas and the Orioles. Another team here, lackluster. And as much as we had the overachieving Cleveland and Kansas City teams, we have a Texas team that continues to – I mean, you lost to Dallas Keuchel yesterday. Dallas Keuchel. Are you kidding? I mean, he hadn't pitched this year. They literally just how bad Seattle traded the guy and they just put Wu on the injured list. Like, you don't think they need a pitcher. They just traded a guy and Texas got problems. That's why this line opened at plus 190. It's down to plus 175, which to me makes sense. You can't, defending champs, even though the offense have struggled, a plus 190, I think, would have been too much. Baltimore laying a now 190. So 190 plus 175, total 7.5. It's going to be a trifecta of totals in this game here because I'm going under the total. The Texas offense, 47-30 to the under on the year. We're gonna just light it up here against Burns. The guy just gets better. I mean, on the season, he's got a 1 whip. The last 7 games, it's a 102 whip. At home, it's a 110 whip. Forget about the ERA. It's under 2. How is Texas is not hit, and this is simple. There's nothing really to dive into. It is basically July 1st, so we're 2 full months into the season. They have yet to start hitting. I don't expect them to come out with huge red wiffle ball bats. Remember the big fat red wiffle ball, not the little yellow skinny ones, and start teeing off on a guy who, as much as everybody wants to jump on Louis Gill or Crochet for Cy Young, have you not seen Corbin Burns pitch for the Brewers and now for Baltimore? I'm going under 7.5. I'm not going to overthink it. And because Gray, I like the Orioles. I think they're a great team. This is my World Series team out of the American League. Gray's going to go 5+, maybe give up a run. At this point, the score, what's it going to be, a 4-1 game? How is this getting a 7.5? This actually, I saw like an 8 at one point. I'm like, what is this, a joke? Wow. Give me the under here. Again, all Burns. Texas hasn't hit for 2+ months. No, I'm not. I do not hope in one hand for a team to start hitting and poop in the other. See which one fills up first. And I need some lava soap that smells nice and lemony because I'm going to be stinky. No way. Give me the under 7.5. And Chipper, you lead us off on. What do you think about my poop stink hand take?
Well, I think you got two great pitchers working, and the longer they go, deeper they go, the better off you are.
Yes.
I saw Burns in Miami a couple of years ago, and his stuff when he keeps it down is so difficult to hit. He had more players swinging at bad pitches out of the strike zone, and I was really wondering, is he all that good, or is he just this deceiving? But he is that good, no question about it. This Texas team has to be feeling the hangover effect of winning the World Series. Baltimore hasn't quite snuck up on people this year, but they're still 20 games over 500. And here's a team that surprised everybody last year, and they're not surprising anybody this year. They're not
And the year
sneaking up on
before.
anybody. And they're still playing so well. So they've got some good bats in that lineup, and Gray's going to have to do a really good job to keep those Orioles from scoring because they lead the league in homers, I believe, and they lead the league in runs and RBIs. So to play under is a challenge, but Gray he can be up to it. I think he's 2-2 lifetime with a great ERA of 2.91 against the Orioles. But a lot of this guys happened when the Orioles stunk, and last year was like their coming out party, and they're darn good right now. Even the guys they're bringing up from AAA and their rookies swing the bat really well. So I think you're right about playing this thing under.
Doug.
All right, I'm going to go under, but in a different way. Okay, so we've been talking about how good the starting pitchers are, and nothing to disagree with there. Gray's actually even better on the road than he is at home. 2.30 ERA. I'm going to go first inning on this one. First inning bets, to me, the most important things are how many home runs does the pitcher give up, and what is the current state of the team that pitcher is going to face. Gray has allowed just 5 home runs in 13 starts this season. The Orioles did score 8 runs on Tuesday, but in 4 other games more recently, they scored 8 total runs also. So not exactly great. Burns, he has given up 10 home runs this year. That is a higher number. However, the odd part is 4 of those home runs were to the number 7 and number 9 batters of the opposing team. So that seems to be an anomaly there. When he's faced the top 3 hitters of the opposing team, their collective batting average so far this season is under 200. Rangers just scored 9 total runs against the Brewers in being swept. So I'm going to go under 0.5 runs for the first inning, and that odds on that are minus 140 the last I looked.
I've been burned sometimes late with my totals because here comes the bullpen. I get everything out of the first 5 and 6 plus, right? The starting pitchers do what they're supposed to do. Then all of a sudden, it's a 3-3 game, and I'm like, what's going to happen here? And here comes this ridiculous phantom runner nonsense they throw in. And a game that should have just been a 4-3 game turns into 7-5 or some nonsense. So the first 5s, I totally agree with jumping on those, especially with solid pitchers. Why risk it, right? I mean, it could go haywire through the belly, right? What do they call that? The ugly underbelly, the ugly underbelly of bullpens. So yeah.
Okay, yes. The ones that got the fire truck next to the bullpen, you mean? You're talking about those guys?
Oh my, terrible. And, here's another team. We talked about the Cleveland pitching staff. Baltimore's got 2 starters on the injured list themselves. Why can't they? They got, I think, the top minor league system in baseball. Will we be shocked if they bring Gausman back home to play here?
The only question I have about Baltimore, and this is, of course, the son has taken over the ownership of the team, but the dad was not known for spending money. Okay. And I don't think the son is either. Now he did spend the money to help build up the farm system, but they hired the right guy to do that. They should go out and get a starter. I'm just not convinced that right now that they will. So that it's kind of problematic. And boy, we both, all of 3 of us know that, your ability to win a World Series, your window of opportunity is never large. And especially for a team with, that's from a market like them. And so, Toronto was supposed to be the team, as you guys were talking about, that everybody thought, here they come. Well, that group didn't work. The Cubs were supposed to win multiple World Series a decade ago. Well, they got 1, and that team never got any better. The only team that really changed and held it together was Houston.
I'd say Astros, yeah.
Yep. So that's,
and you're right. Like think about 2 years ago, they were on a playoff run. They traded the bullpen guy, right? They traded away the guy to Toronto, the bullpen pitcher. And last year they didn't make a move. They signed Burns this year. They bring him in. Why wouldn't you? The American League is wide open. It's really you and Cleveland. If you want to think the Yankees are there, they're not spending money because the Yanks could have went out when Cole went on the injured list. They could have signed Snell at a discount. They didn't. So they're not going to get somebody big.
Right.
Who's your competition? The Astros have no farm system. Texas and Seattle, they got question marks. You got the Braves are banged up. The Dodgers, as good as they are you sold on a bunch of pitchers to go 5 innings? I mean,
the bottom of that batting order is not very good either.
Yes, it's the Phillies. The Phillies could be the best team right now in the National League, and I think with Suarez and Sanchez, those are 2 guys who talk about coming back to the pack. Are they going to just pitch lights out like they're whoever over there,
right?
Steve Carlton's? Make the trade. If I'm an Oriole fan, I'm pulling my eyebrow hair out, right? Like make a deal, trade, get the really like Craig Kimbrell in the bullpen. Go get the kid from Oakland. Trade your top guy. Trade Kerstad or whoever that guy's named.
They have guys. You're right. They definitely have guys. Even though I can't believe they do it, I don't know if I got his name right. I've seen him pitch, but I haven't listened to the game. I've watched it on my phone a few times. The rookie from the White Sox. I mean, the White Sox are going nowhere.
Crochet.
That's what I thought it was, but
I could butcher it. I don't care. I call him Louis Gill. His name's Louis Hill.
Yeah.
But if he's available, why not go get him?
I don't.
I mean, he's really good. I mean, I really like him a lot.
Get something.
You got to get somebody.
You can never have enough start. If you haven't noticed that, folks, about baseball, let's just look at the board. Every day there's 5 teams with a TBD next to their name.
Yes.
To be a pitcher. Why wouldn't you go get pitching? Well, it'll work itself out. Guys get hurt. Anyway.
Well, no, and besides, you know what? I speaking of that, I'll just throw this in. The other thing with all these pitchers being hurt. Okay, so just keep throwing the pitchers. Tell them to throw as hard as they possibly can, as long as they possibly can, and then keep working on those spin rates so that you tweak your arm, you do everything else, and you blow out your elbows and your shoulders and everything else, and you need Tommy John surgery. So keep it up. Just that's the wise thing to do. Is why protect your pitcher? You got to get the maximum ability out of them, right?
Well, they try to protect them, but on the same token, they're doing nothing but hurting them.
Of course, that's exactly my point. I don't think it's this max effort stuff is nonsense.
But it's not even just a max effort. It's like also we're gonna pull you out of 90 pitches.
Yeah, well, this past week, Seth Lugo, he threw 84 pitches or 87 pitches through 6 innings. They were only ahead 1-0. They yanked him, on 87 pitches. And what happens? Miami scores 2 runs the next inning. They lose the game 2-1.
Here comes the bullpen.
Yep.
I say this when people talk about nerfies. The starting pitcher is the best pitcher on your team. Right? I don't care how bad your number 5 starter is. They're obviously your best pitchers because they could last longer. If you can't get 3 outs with a starting pitcher, I don't care what lineup. You could be facing murderer Yankees. You should have the edge starting. These pitchers, I have no idea why they switch us up, whether it's and I know they had this in the minors with the pitch clock. It is not working. I mean, please fix it. Baseball's going. Every other sport's growing, and baseball's just losing people. Oh, we're going to put phantom runners on. I mean, they pulled a 7-inning doubleheader a couple years ago.
Well, that was during COVID, though.
But those stats counted as real games. You throw 7 innings shutouts.
But I mean, in 10 years, who's going to know it other than you?
That's all that matters.
To you,
phantom runners, pitch clocks. Let them pitch. It's really a game of attrition. Come on, let these guys go out there, step off. You need any little edge. Who cares if it's 4 hours? People going to the game are going to the game. They're fans. A new fan. You see the new fans. The new fans want nerfies. The new fans want first basket scores in basketball. We're betting on the kickoff and on drives. They're not going to a baseball game to watch it for 9 innings.
No, well, the fans love the shorter games. Okay, so don't mistake that. That was a big reason for attendance and also TV ratings being up last year. So they definitely like it because it is a faster pace. I don't agree with you on the extra inning thing. I have sat in enough games to where it's the 13th, 14th inning. My choice, by the way. So it was up to me. I'm in favor of it. Keep the game moving. We don't need to. I know a lot of people don't like it. That's fine. I think it's
a
perfectly
fake
fine.
RBI.
What's that?
They're fake RBIs. They shouldn't be counted as RBIs.
I agree with that. They shouldn't be counted as RBIs because
any stats after the ninth inning should not be counted in the record books. They should not.
It's not either. It's not
counted. It's not counted as an earned run either. So
right. Or blown
I don't like it at all.
That stuff. Yeah. So I agree. They should. Well, if you want to go that far, if you go
they are counted as RBIs though.
What's that?
They're counted as RBI.
That's the one thing they could correct. But they're looking for offenses. Let's face it. All these things, in terms of stats, they're designed to, for the most part, favor the hitters and not go against the pitchers. Okay, that's part of the design of this. If you want to get it right down to it, what's the point of earned runs? Okay, so the guy gets an error and then he gives up 5 more hits after that, and there's no earned runs involved. That's absurd. Okay, and that's always been the case, and it'll never change. I'm not going to try and make the argument for it, but it's.
Chip was chomping at the bit, but the earned run thing to me is no. You made an error. I should be gone. I should be charged because you messed up. That guy's, and that's another thing. We'll talk about WAR. Oh, defensive WAR. That guy makes an error and it ends up turning into a 5-run inning. His WAR should be affected, but it doesn't affect it based on runs. It's just based on one error. I don't know. Chip, yeah. I know you want to say something before. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say I'm not into this putting a man on base. I'm really not. A game's a game. I was at a game in New York, and the second game of a doubleheader on the Memorial Day in 1970. And Shea Saban went 22 innings, and that was the second game of a doubleheader. And
they're still serving beer in
the 17th inning. Well, I don't think so. I know the Mays was 1 for 10 in that game, but but I didn't want to leave because my father says, you've already seen 3 games. We got to get going.
Yeah. I remember sitting in a rain delay with my dad.
The other reason for shortening the game as far as pitchers timing and trying to limit the time overtime or extra inning games go is because, as Doug had mentioned, the TV revenue, a lot of these stations have a block show coming in at a certain time, and they're losing revenue if that baseball game continues into, say, a primetime show or another show, which they already have. So I think that was definitely part of the reason was the TV overlapping other programs.
Yep. I agree.
I'm sure I got to wrap this up because I'm sure the comment section will be like 3 dinosaurs talk about 70s and 80s baseball like we care. So that probably could have been as an off-air conversation for us. But all right, listen, officially the plays today here on the Thursday show. We got Chip is coming in over Yankees 8.5 with Rondon and Barrios on the hill. Doug with Lively and Waka. We're going under 8.5 Cleveland, Kansas City. I am hitting a total trifecta going under Texas and Baltimore Gray and Mr. Burns. Not Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, although he put together a pretty good softball team there for the power play.
Yeah.
All right. Again, before you leave, please hit the like button, subscribe, YouTube, all that stuff. Leave a comment. I know you will because I go off the rail sometimes. Ross wasn't here to roll me in, but he'll be back tomorrow. Definitely no baseball nostalgia talk about the good old days of pitchers throwing 10 innings, 142 pitches. But for Ross, Chip, and myself, Doug, Chip, and myself, me, Ross, and Jesse tomorrow, 9:30, regular time, no live show. We'll be live back for football season in August, in case you're wondering. But thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Good luck in your bets, folks. Bye-bye.